Hey guys, welcome to our Practical 5. This is going to be going through the reinforcement for the columns, the beams, the slabs, and these bottom beams here, including how to tie them together. So firstly, what I've given you is just take note or a screenshot or something of these. So these are the dimensions or the bar sizings that I'm going to be using. So columns, all of our beams, our slab, and you'll understand as I get through it what these cog bars and the bar continuity bars are, but just take note of this. Okay. Also, what I'll give you is I've taken some printouts of the reinforcement detailing book that I use. Some of these are just interesting for you to have a look at. So like this one here is a pile cap tying in the pile to a column, and just how it all kind of comes together. This here is for residential house. We're going to use the same principles for our corner bars, for our junctions, okay? And same thing here when we go from a beam down to another beam or to a column or to a slab, okay? So have a read through this. I'll upload it to the Learn site in our page, okay? So first things I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the reinforcement into these columns. I'm going to come to my ground floor, going to delete this section. I don't need it now. That was for our set down. What I'm going to do prior, so before I start putting in reinforcement, is I'm going to set my cover. So if I'm using 40mm for the columns, 20 for the beams, 40 for the slabs. So let's put them in. Structure, reinforcement, rebar cover settings, and I can add here. Or cover, these green dashed lines shows you the cover. I can click on the member. You can see here my rebar cover 25. Click these three dots and I can add in here as well. So Revit gives a 25mm standard. So this one's going to be my columns, my beams, my slab. My slab is going to be 30. My beams is going to be 20, not 22, 20, and my columns is 40. Okay. So now this green dashed line is showing where the cover is, which is still at 25. So select it and I can change it up here. So now I can see that has indented with the cover. If I show that again, so let's come back closer. Or what I can do is simply change it in here as well. Alright. So I might just change up all of them first. So select one, select all of them. Is it gonna let me do it? Yeah, it will. Sorry. Select them all in here. Cover to their columns. So now I have a 40mm cover. Rebar. Okay. So we're mainly using these HT and the S shapes. So the HT is our ligatures, our stirrups or fitments. In a beam, these provide shear reinforcement. In our columns, not so much. These provide a lateral restraint for buckling of our longitudinal reinforcement. So HT, for our columns, we are using N10s, so 10mm thick cage. So N10, my layout rule is going to be a maximum spacing of 300. Alright, this here, this light rebar set is also up here, so either or will work. I'll change my view visibility, straight away, just so I can see it as a solid line in 3D. Now I can see where the tie is sitting in that bottom right hand corner. If I move my mouse around, it will move, or I can hit spacebar, which will flick it around. For our columns, not so crucial. For our beams, it might be, especially for our footings for our house, just because of how you can actually tie these together. Just going to change to a fine level of detail so I can see the thickness, and I'm going to chuck these here. So now these are in, escape. If I select it, I have 44 of these running up my column. Now what I need to do is put in my circles or my longitudinal reinforcement. So rebar shape S, and these are N20s. N20. Now, at the moment, I'm in the wrong plane because I can see the actual length of the reinforcement. So I changed the placement to be parallel, and now I can see it. Now, whilst I'm moving freely here, I'm actually moving from the center point of that circle. If I move up and touch or go past the ligature, I'm moving, it kind of becomes stuck to it. So as I move along, it will snap. So that jump there, alright, that one, is to the edge of the straight line. Alright, so you can see this is running straight, and then it starts to curve for an arc. So it runs, that point there is the edge of this straight line. The second snap is the midpoint of the arc. That's where we will be placing our reinforcement. If I come down again, that third snap is the straight line of this leg. So put one here, put one here. We can put them one by one, or I can change my rebar set to a fixed number of 2, and I can snap to there. Escape. We have these in all 4 corners for our columns. If it was circular, you'd have the same thing. They're even. You can additionally see them at these midpoints as well. Obviously for a column, our columns are symmetrical. Our reinforcement is symmetrical due to biaxial bending. So it can bend this way and it can bend this way. Now, once I've done one, I can select all of them, filter out. All I want is my rebar. Go OK. Now all of my columns are the same, so I can copy from my grid lines, copy again, down, copy, multiple. Now all my columns are the same, so I can go from here straight across. Now these walls and these walls are going to be precast. So these aren't going to be cast on site. We're not going to detail the reinforcement here. We will leave this up to the subcontractors that are putting it together. They have their own engineers that work on precast and pre-stressed concrete. Now, the copying of this rebar only works if the columns are the exact same dimensions, including the height. So if we had one spanning at different floor levels, copying these across wouldn't work. So just keep that in mind. Now I'll select these again, filter out, and I'm just going to grab my rebar, just going to change this here, change all my views, make sure I can see it in 3D, come back to my 3D, change this to fine. So I've put rebar in all of them. Okay, so this is what I've tied together. Okay, you can see my ligatures and you can see all of my longitudinal reinforcement. I reckon we can't see these other ones. I reckon I've made a mistake. I don't reckon I've ticked the box. So let's just double check. Yep. Let's double check these ones. That's better. I've done the same for ligatures. Select them all. Now let's do it again. It's better. Awesome. So now I can see all of my reinforcement for my columns. Okay. My 4 columns at the front and my 4 at the back. Now we're going to be taking a lot of sections through here, so just keep that in mind. These will get a bit messy. Just follow through and we should be okay. Basically what we do for one floor is going to be the same, with an exception. What I will show you is for our slabs, we're going to be using, just putting in a basic SL82 mesh. Realistically, you won't just have a mesh in these slabs. You can, I guess, respect the fact that these slabs are spanning from a beam here to a beam here, which is an 8 meter span. The self weight of the beam alone will crumble and will crack. So we're going to need to have bottom reinforcements. You'll have either Bondex sheeting or N12s in both directions or something like that. You have to do the calculations, which you'd be learning now in structural analysis for your 2-way slabs, using these beam supports. But to keep it simple, for your practical 5, all I'm going to ask is you put in SL82 mesh, but if you want, you can put in the N12s on the bottom layer, which I'll show you how to do. So that being said, let's put in our mesh first, and then I'll carry on the beams in another video. So ground floor, structure, fabric area, select the area, which is going to be this slab here. Alright, now pick lines. Alright. Now I'm not going to have any reinforcement sitting in here. Remember, this is a core wall, it's a hole. So SL82, so looking at the properties now, coming down to find SL82. What we can do is we can put them on the bottom if you want to, put them on the top. You can play around with different things, leave it aligned, leave it on the top. Okay. Because even if you're going to put in the N12s down the bottom, you'll still need to have some up top as well for crack control. Or what you'll do is you'll put in your N12s again up top in your negative moment regions. Okay. So put these in, click the tick. Now this is still left the cavity for where my elevator is, but I have mesh everywhere else. Alright, so that's what I can see here. So we'll need to repeat that for all floors, or you can copy them up if you would like. So you can use an east view. Oh, you're not going to be able to copy these up. So they're selected to the host. So we'll do them floor by floor. So I've done the ground floor. I'll do the level 1. Fabric area. Click the slab. Pick lines. It's either this or you can reconfigure the host. But this isn't too bad just to do it. You know, it's the same thing, but it gets pretty quick. So there's level 1, level 2, now I'll leave level 3 to put in my N12s. If you don't plan on doing it, I won't dock you any marks if you don't. But make sure you put in your mesh in this top slab for now. Okay. and same with the basement. You can put them in here. Just be careful, you will have an error here when you put that in. Your mesh won't sit 30 millimeters below this point. This is already set down by 30. What I will do is I'll leave it for you guys to have a play around with as to how to drop another 30 below here, and then I will cover that in class in the following week. Okay, so please do all of them, and I'll move on to the next video with putting in our reinforcement for our beams.